Honorable Ministers, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to join you today to present His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, who would have wanted to be here in person, but due to pressing matters at home, he couldn't do so. He therefore delegated me to present him here. Ladies and gentlemen, Uganda is a signatory to a number of international conventions guaranteeing right to quality and lifelong education for all children, adolescents, youth, and without any discrimination. Your Excellencies, Your Excellencies, friends, Uganda agrees with UNESCO's 2009 justification for pursuing inclusive education, which calls schools to educate all children together and develop teaching methodologies that respond to individual learners' differences and needs. UNESCO also calls on schools to change attitudes towards diversity by educating all children together to form the basis for a just and non-discriminatory society. In Uganda, education is a constitutional right that is enjoyed by everyone, irrespective of ethnic origin, gender, disability, or social status. Uganda fully concurs with the assertion that inclusive education does not mean dividing and separating students based on their abilities, nor physically integrating them in schools without adapting the infrastructure, curriculum, pedagogy, and teacher roles. It is therefore right that the focus of inclusion should in fact be on the characteristics of each individual and how each person can learn more and better by being part of a collective learning space with peers and also with teachers. The government of Uganda has made progress towards ensuring that no one is left behind by putting in place a favorable policy framework and programs which have boosted access and participation of learners, including those with special needs at all levels of education. In 1997, Uganda introduced universal primary education. Universal primary education was an ambitious and bold move that gave every child the right to a free primary education with special emphasis on children with disabilities or any special learning needs. This commitment was further entrenched in the Education Act of 2008 that made primary education compulsory for all school-going age children. Another significant intervention has been the provision of hearing aids to learners with hearing impairment. To ensure inclusiveness at higher education levels, an affirmative action program for female students as well as those from poor families and with disabilities is implemented during admissions to university and other institutions of higher learning, again to ensure that no one is disadvantaged. A total of 64 students with disabilities are annually enrolled on government sponsorship in public universities across the country. In addition, students with disabilities are given priority to access loans offered by government support access to higher education. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as you may be aware, Uganda currently hosts 1.3 million refugees. Majority of these are children. Children have full and equal access to education as Ugandan children. Uganda took this decision with clear knowledge that no one chooses to be a refugee and that therefore refugee children must be included in the educational system in the country. Other initiatives that we have undertaken as a country include teacher training programs that ensure that every teacher who qualifies is equipped with skills and knowledge on management of children with special needs or with any disadvantages. We are also tracking data on primary school learners to ensure that information on all educationally disadvantaged groups is captured for planning and decision-making purposes. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are trying our best to push for a more inclusive system of education to our children, but challenges still remain. Apart from the common resource-related constraints, the single biggest challenge is that of negative societal and parental attitude. Holders, including parents, that all learners can and should indeed benefit from inclusive learning. I would like to assure this gathering that in line with international call for balanced inclusive education and goal number 4 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals on inclusive and equitable quality education, Uganda is in full support. Accordingly, sign the Universal Declaration on Balanced and Inclusive Education. Uganda looks forward to continued collaboration and mutual partnership with the government through the ministries responsible for education, academic bodies and academic institutions, education development partners, civil society organizations, and all key stakeholders to achieve the collective vision of balanced and inclusive education for all. Let me conclude by once again thanking the government of the Republic of Djibouti and the Education Relief Foundation for organizing this landmark forum. Thank you for the good organization, for the warm hospitality extended to all of us. I wish all of you very productive deliberations.